Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to get into something pretty radical. It's this idea that starts with a paradox you've probably heard before. Less is more.
Right, but we're not talking about minimalism, not about getting rid of possessions.
No, not at all. This is about maximizing your life's meaning by, and this is the key, voluntarily choosing an extreme struggle.
And that's our whole mission for this deep dive. We're exploring the concept of picking just one specific, impossibly difficult game to focus your life on.
Just one.
Just one. Because our sources, and they range from philosophy to psychology, all suggest that this kind of singular dedication is, well, maybe the only path to a genuinely fulfilled life.
And when you look at the material, the takeaway is it's startlingly simple, but also deeply challenging. The idea is that the struggles you choose are what give your life meaning.
But most of us aren't choosing.
Exactly. We're scattered. We're playing a dozen little low-stakes games that somebody else made up, and they just drain our energy without giving us any real purpose back, so it's time to quit the side quests.
And find the main objective. But to do that, we have to start with what the sources even mean by the game.
Okay, let's unpack that. The philosopher Bernard Suits has this definition that's wonderfully strange at first.
It really is.
He claimed that playing a game is voluntarily attempting unnecessary obstacles.
Just so you can create struggles to then overcome them.
And I think that word voluntarily, that's everything, isn't it?
It is the absolute key. We're not talking about the struggles life just throws at you, illness, grief, financial hardship. Those are just survival.
Necessary struggles.
Right. Suits is saying a game is when you deliberately choose the hard path, even when an easy one is right there.
Let's just sit with that for a second. Why does a novelist choose a blank page, knowing failure is almost guaranteed, when they could get a steady job?
Or why does a parent choose the excruciating struggle of raising a decent human being?
When an easier, less responsible life is always an option.
They choose it because the struggle itself creates meaning. The struggle isn't a bug in the system, it's the entire feature.
You don't need to write a novel to survive. But the voluntary choice to take on that huge, unnecessary obstacle is what gives it all its value.
It turns mere existence into a life that's actually worth living.
So if the struggle is voluntary, what happens when we try to cheat it? To automate it or simplify it?
Well, that's where Thich Nguyen's work comes in. He connects this idea directly to our purpose in life. He says very clearly, games are the ultimate metaphor for the meaning of life.
Okay, so if life is a game,
then the integrity of that game becomes everything. The rules you follow, the morals you stick to, the absolute refusal to cheat. That's the whole point.
So if you cheat at the game of parenting or building an ethical business,
you completely destroy the meaning of the outcome. You might have the result, but it's hollow.
I wonder, though. I mean, in the real world, isn't some compromise necessary? In the career game or the social influence game, don't you sometimes have to bend the rules?
The sources are, well, they're pretty uncompromising here. They say if you compromise the rules to get an outcome, that outcome no longer defines your game.
It defines the game you stole.
Exactly. Without integrity, it's just motion without purpose. You're busy, sure. You're productive. But you are not playing your game.
Which brings up the most critical question for you, the listener. Are you playing the game you actually want to be playing, with rules you set?
Or are you just scattered across a dozen games somebody else invented for you? The social media validation game, the credit score game.
Keeping up game.
And if you're playing all those unselected games, you're guaranteed to lack the focus for the one game that's truly yours.
So the less is more idea here is kind of brutal.
It is. It means you have to quit everything that isn't essential to your one true struggle.
Okay, so let's say you do that. You make that choice. You pick your one true game. The material suggests there's a cost, right? The price of authenticity.
A huge cost. And the sources say this game, by its very definition, has to feel impossible.
That's the clarity that Steven Pressfield brings. He's talking to any creator, an artist, an entrepreneur, anyone with a unique calling.
And he says succeeding at your unique game is a massive long shot. He compares the odds to wanting to be a professional basketball player.
And then he delivers that incredible, almost chilling line. It's easier to become a brain surgeon.
At least you can go to school for that.
Just think about that for a second.
I mean, the path to brain surgery is defined. It's incredibly hard, of course, but there are steps. Med school, residency. There is no residency for becoming the next great novelist. You're making the path as you go.
So Pressfield isn't trying to be a downer here. He's just clarifying the terms of engagement. The impossible odds are the price you pay for authenticity.
Exactly. If your goal is to express something unique, it has to be harder than a well-trodden path. The difficulty is just a side effect of originality.
So the question isn't, is this too hard anymore?
No. The sources say the real question is, do you have any choice? If the game is truly yours, if it comes from your deepest sense of purpose, then you don't, you have to play it.
And that's where less is more really hits its peak. You subtract all the borrowed, non-essential struggles.
And you're left with one singular, impossibly difficult game. You trade comfort for meaning. The impossibility stops being the point.
The fact that it's your game becomes the only thing that matters.
The integrity with which you play it, that's it. One authentic, defining struggle.
But what happens when your impossible game involves other people? I mean, difficult people, flawed systems that are actively working against you.
Because that's the reality for anyone playing a game of service, like fighting for social justice.
Right. And this brings us to what the sources call the Charles Schultz paradox. He had that great line, "I love mankind, it's people I can't stand."
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
It's the gap between the ideal loving justice in the abstract and the messy reality of working with actual people.
People who have deadlines and budgets and political pressures.
And that's where most people just give up on that game. They get cynical, they decide the system is too broken. But the sources give us a fantastic model for how to navigate this. The Innocence Project.
Okay, so tell us about them.
The Innocence Project has freed over 250 people from unjust imprisonment, a number that should be way, way higher. But still, it represents this incredible dedication to one impossible game.
And they operate within the legal system, which is by default designed for efficiency, not necessarily for meticulous investigation.
Right. It's biased toward just processing cases.
No.
So the question is, how do you play your impossible game against that kind of inertia?
What was their strategy?
Well, they didn't do it by fighting everyone or shouting about how immoral the prosecutors were. They did something smarter. They changed the system by making it easier to do the right thing than to fight them.
They turned the system's own bias toward ease against itself. That's fascinating. What does that look like in practice?
It means they didn't just show up with evidence. They showed up with undeniable, overwhelming DNA evidence. They had compelling narratives. They made it so the system would look actively corrupt if it didn't comply.
They raised the cost of ignoring them.
Precisely. Their goal wasn't just to win one case. It was to make every conviction such a big deal to the system that business as usual was no longer possible.
That shifts everything. And this connects right back to the individual's choice of game. There's a Gandhi quote in here.
The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
So choosing service is choosing a game where your identity is found within a community.
You're not abandoning yourself. You're refining your unique gifts in the messy reality of helping other people. Your impossible game becomes relational.
Okay, so we've chosen the game. We've accepted the difficulty, the messiness. Now we have to talk about the daily mindset, the practice. Because if you choose an impossible game, failure isn't just an option.
It's a guarantee. Absolutely. And the sources fully embrace this. They point to that powerful maxim, ever tried, ever failed, no matter, fail again, fail better.
And that's not just a nice quote for a poster, it's a strategy. If you are really pushing your own boundaries, you will fail a lot.
The willingness to even take the shot is the game.
But it hurts. Failure hurts. And we really only have 3 choices in life, right? Give up, give in, or give it all we've got.
And the only alternative to trying and failing is inaction, which means, we'll always miss 100% of the shots we never take.
And this gets to the difference between motivation and habit.
Crucial distinction. Motivation's the flash, the energy that gets you started. But it's like the weather. It comes and goes.
Yeah, habit.
Habit is the climate. It's what keeps you playing when the motivation is gone and the odds look terrible.
There's this fierce quote from the athlete Ed McCauley. He said, "When you are not practicing, remember somebody somewhere is practicing, and when they meet you, they will win."
That's a powerful reminder. Respecting your game means you show up and practice, even on the days you don't feel like it.
And that kind of practice requires perspective,
Mm.
which is where reflection and presence come in.
Right. E.W. Adams had this beautiful line about reflection. He said, looking backward for a while is to refresh the eye for its prime function of looking forward.
So it's not about dwelling on the past. It's a tool for clarification.
Exactly. To see which obstacles were actually part of your game and which were just distractions from old games you should have quit. It clarifies the present.
And that clarity lets you be truly present. The sources connect this directly to meditating on your own mortality.
It sounds morbid, but the idea is to really live and play today, not to be anxious about the future. And they warn very clearly, don't sacrifice health for money.
It's such a common trap, isn't it? We spend our health earning money and then spend our money trying to get our health back.
Meditating on mortality reminds you that your impossible game has a ticking clock.
Which is why Emerson's advice is so practical. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day of the year.
Because it's the only day you actually get to play.
And to play, you need strength. Mark Rippetoe has this very pragmatic anchor for all this. Strong people are harder to kill than weak people, and more useful in general.
You need the strength, physical, mental, emotional, just to show up, fail, and keep practicing, to be useful to your own struggle.
And all of this leads to the final impact. Playing your impossible game isn't about ego. It's not about self-aggrandizement.
No, it's about something much more generous. It's about letting your greatness show from your inner light.
And that very personal commitment, paradoxically, becomes a form of leadership. John Quincy Adams put it perfectly.
If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader.
So just like the Innocence Project inspired systemic change, your dedicated struggle shows other people what's possible for them.
You're shining a light. Your dedication clarifies the right thing for them, too.
So this whole deep dive into less is more, what's the final distillation? It's less distraction, less anxiety, fewer meaningless games.
But in their place, you get more meaning, more truth, and more authenticity in every single action.
So to sum it all up, you have to quit playing the games that society just hands you.
You have to choose your one impossible game. The one voluntary struggle that is yours, and yours alone. The one where the ridiculous odds are just the price of authenticity. And then you have to show up for it. Today.
That's the challenge. Choose the game, and then practice it with integrity, persistence, and presence.
And remember, the material is clear. This isn't about winning or money or getting applause. It's only about being true to your unique gifts, especially when, and precisely because, the odds are so overwhelming.
So for a final thought, the sources all stress this unwavering integrity, no cheating, and they accept that in an impossible game, failure is guaranteed. So if the goal isn't to win, but to show up authentically, how does that change your definition of victory?
What is the real victory in an impossible game? That's something to think about.
What's your game, and will you play it today?